Well, hello class. Here we are the week of the 19th already of September. And we are going to be talking about Chapter 2. And Chapter 2 is going to be about management learning past to present. Well, what is this chapter actually about? And you can follow along in your book and refer back to this. I will be talking about this in class, but I'm just going to kind of give you the the objectives. What do we really want to take away from this chapter? And what this is really talking about is three types of management. The first is classical management. The second is behavioral management. And the third is modern management. So when you get done with this chapter, you should be able to know what the underlying assumption of the classical management approach is. And then we're going to talk about Frederick Taylor. Really considered in many ways to be the father of the management study. And he came up with, Frederick Taylor came up with the scientific management approach. And then we went on to Henri Fayol. Henri Fayol had different principles for guiding managerial action. Then as time evolved, we started getting into what we call bureaucracy. And there was a gentleman by the name of Weber who considered it an ideal form of an organization. And that essentially is talking about the formal hierarchical structure. And then, of course, there are advantages and disadvantages to bureaucracy, especially as companies get larger, they eventually get into more and more bureaucracy. Then we get into Follett. It's F-O-L-L-E-T-T. His concept of organizations as a series of communities being put together. Probably the first type of mention of an internal and external environment. And then we're going to talk about Hawthorne and the Hawthorne effect. And basically Hawthorne's findings very much influenced the behavior approach or the development of what we refer to as management thought. How supervisors' actions can have a distinct effect on employees' production. And then after that we get into theorists such as Douglas McGregor, who introduced Theory X and Theory Y, and Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which we're going to talk a lot about in the second half of the year when we get into business management too. And then we're going to explain Agrysis, that's A-R-G-Y-R-I-S, criticism that traditional organizational practices are inconsistent with adult personalities. That's interesting. Good discussion there. And we're going to then be looking at our first approach to systems, subsystems, and open systems. And then we're going to look at contingency thinking, knowledge management, and as we moved on into modern management, what is the learning organization like? And then we're going to be listing the characteristics of learning organizations. Finally, we're going to get into what we refer to as evidence-based management and its link with the scientific methods. So after you view and absorb what I've just said, I want you to look at some of the things that we are going to be covering in this chapter, which I will be talking about in class. And each one of the concepts that I am going to put up for you are going to be supported by a video. Okay? And this is what we are going to be talking about on Monday and Wednesday of this week of September 19th.